everybody's living to learn. I'm out here in this beautiful nature park. It's good to be outside. You know, had to get out, do something a little different. So hope you guys enjoy this. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I know it seems a little overcast, a little gloomy, but it isn't. Feels great. The wind is blowing, so hopefully that doesn't mess up the video too much. But yeah, I mean, I'm out here, I'm outside trying to do something a little different, maybe change it up a little bit, change up the environment a little bit. I'm an outdoors person. Now when I say that, don't get the idea that I'm some kind of rock climber or camper. You know, I'm not like that. What I mean by that is I like to be outside. I like to be out, whether it's the beach. The beach is really my favorite. It could be the beach, could be just out in nature like I am right now. These are things that I enjoy personally. It just gives me peace of mind, keeps me at ease, and it's just nice to be outside, right? And obviously there's places in the world where you can't just hang out outside, and so we got to take advantage of what we have. And so anyway, I thought I'd just give a quick explanation for those of you that are watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. If you haven't liked or shared any of my videos, I would appreciate you doing so, just because it helps me out a lot. If you feel like donating financially, that is especially I'm grateful for that as well, but you don't have to do it. So today I just want to kind of just share some thoughts, right? Like I said, it's a little bit different today, just in that I'm in a different space, different spot, different environment, being outside. And kind of leads me to just kind of discuss the whole idea about changing things up, right? It's kind of weird. Okay, so let me just kind of give you my viewpoint. It's kind of weird being out here in the public, because I'm in public. I don't own this space, right? People walking around, watching me, wondering what I'm doing. And there's noises, other things going on around me. Not to mention I can't see behind me, so I don't know what's going on, right? I know they got water back there, some kind of lake, something where so who knows, right? But it can be a little daunting, can be a little scary to do something different, to go put yourself in a different place, to become a fish out of water, as they say. This is not my typical setup, but I wanted to use this as a point of reference for change, for challenging ourselves to do something different, for the opportunity to step outside, step out of our normal comfort zone, put ourselves in an environment, in a position that we're normally not used to, and adjust, right? Because I'm here, I'm recording, I'm doing this video. It hasn't stopped me, but I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to put myself in a place that I don't usually do this at, and see what comes about it. See what comes about from this. One of the most important things that I like to stress on my channel is giving ourselves opportunities to be better than we are at the moment. I'm always talking about change. I'm always talking about challenging ourselves. I'm always talking about becoming comfortable, being uncomfortable, stepping out of our comfort zone, everything that has to do with that, challenging ourselves to get to know ourselves better, challenging ourselves to work on things that are hard to work on. And I've said this many times, I'm in the same boat as most of us are, right? I feel like a lot of us, especially if you're watching, if you have any interest in my channel, I have an idea that perhaps there's something that I've said that's resonated with you, whether it be my own personal challenge to myself to excel, to get better, to develop more intellectually, emotionally. Basically, my whole thing is I want to get better. I want to be better than I am today. I want to be at a higher level than I am today. And with that comes a lot of change. It comes with a lot of challenge. It comes with a lot of discomfort. And I've said this before, I understand why people don't change. Because it's very difficult. Because it's not easy. It's not convenient, right? It's not convenient to do things different. It's not convenient to break out of our normal routine. And so I'm here to admit that first and foremost. As I said before, I'm human just like everyone else. You're not talking to somebody you're not listening to somebody who has, already achieved what I'm looking to achieve. I'm still headed that way, right? I still have goals, I still have dreams, I still have things that I'm headed towards that I want to do. And so that's what I share on my channel. And the channel's called Living to Learn for a reason. It's a name that I came up with when I was just kind of running through different concepts, different things in my mind, like what do I want to talk about, what I want to do. You see, this started as an idea, okay? And wasn't even necessarily originally an idea about a YouTube channel. It had nothing to do with YouTube. It had to do with the fact that I knew I had a skill set, I had a particular gift, and I wanted to see, how can I put this to use? How can I eventually get to a place where I am supporting my family, where I am achieving financial freedom, where I am building generational wealth for myself, my family, and those that are going to come after me? How can I pass on a positive legacy like the one that's been passed on to me from my family? How can I do that? Like, what is that going to look like? And you wouldn't believe this, but it took me a long time, or maybe you would believe it. It took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to do. So I want to pause on that note, and I want to encourage you, if you are in a place where you can honestly say, you know what, I don't know what I want to do, right? Have you ever been in that place? Have you ever felt embarrassed or ashamed to say that? Maybe you're in your 40s and you still don't know what you want to do. Culturally, society-wise, that's almost looked down upon, right? By 40 you should have it figured out. Well, whatever that means, right? What does figured out mean? What does that mean? That means, in my opinion, when people say that, or when you hear that opinion, what they're really saying is, what they're really doing is they're projecting their idea of figured out onto your life. And guess what? Even if it's a well-intended meaning, even if it comes from a good place, you are you, they are them, and that's the end of the story. So if you're in a place right now and you're watching this video and you're saying, man, I still don't know what I want to do, I still haven't figured it out, first thing I want to tell you is this: take it easy. Okay, don't beat yourself up. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't push yourself harder. Don't push yourself into a situation you really don't want to be in, just because you want to see some type of advancement, some type of accomplishment, to make yourself feel better, to put those voices at ease. Because I'll tell you what, those voices are not really yours. That negativity, anything that's not appreciating you for who you are, while building you up. Now, yes, there is challenge. Yes, there is a time to say, hey, you know what? It's time to step it up. It's time to expect more from ourselves. Absolutely. But that comes through a positive, that's funneled in a positive way. Okay, that's siphoned in a positive way. Okay, it doesn't come about from beating ourselves up or hurting ourselves or talking down to ourselves. That's not how this works. Okay, so if you're in a place right now where you're like, hey, I don't know what I want to do, I haven't figured it out, don't worry, that's okay. It takes time. It takes time. The thing you must do is you must continue to address that. And I've said certain things before. You want to write something down. What are your goals? What do you think you'd want to do? What do you think you're talented at? What do you think you're gifted at? What do you love doing? A great question that I was presented with once that actually led me to where I'm at now and doing these videos, pursuing a career as a life coach, as an aspiring life coach. Someone said, well, I don't know if they said it or I heard it somewhere, but it was, the question was posed this way: what would you do if you could do something, right? Whether you were paid or not, what's something that you could do, right? The question was something like that. Like, what would you not mind doing every single day, whether you're being paid for it or not, right? And that question was important for me. It was important to help me get to where I'm at now, right? With this YouTube channel. Because it really, I was able to sit back and see, you know what am I doing now, right? Realizing that I'm already coaching. I have friends coming to me for advice. I'm listening intently to people when they talk to me, when we have conversations. I'm genuinely concerned about the people in my life when they're troubled or when they're going through something and they need something. They need somebody to build them up, right? They need an uplifting word. They need some positive reinforcement or whatever you want to call it. I'm already doing that, and I'm not charging a cent. And, so you start to realize, well, this is what I love doing. This is what I enjoy. This is what, to answer that question I asked earlier, this is that. Building people up, watching people become successful, watching people's eyes light up as they have this aha moment because of your words, right? Because of something that I've said, because of something that I've encouraged them to do, they are now in a better place. They are now thinking different. I never saw it that way. That's one of my favorite responses. That shows me I've done a good job. That allows me to reinforce the idea that, hey, you know what? I'm pretty good at this, and I'm only working to get better. And when I say I'm pretty good at this, you have to understand how hard and how long it took me just to be able to get to a place where I could say that. I didn't used to be able to say those types of things about myself, but see, I've grown, and I'm growing. So it's showing me that this works, right? That this is effective. So really, if you're trying to figure out, well, what is it that I would want to do? What is it that I would need to do to feel, what do I need to do to feel, be fulfilled, right? And I understand everybody's in different situations. I understand we all have different schedules, different setups, right? In this life, we have to work. In this life, we have to be busy. In this life, our time is consumed with a number of things, right? And so it can be hard to sit down and strategize, right? Most of the time, we'll sit back and we'll say, well, this is what I would love to do, but because of X, Y, Z, I can't do that. Or it wouldn't be possible. Or this is just something that's, it's so far-fetched that I might as well just forget about it. And my challenge to you is this: don't forget about it. It might be far-fetched. I can agree. Sure. I mean, I think about the things I want to do, right? I think about where I want to get eventually. I dream about it. I think about it. I envision it. I speak it into existence, if you will. I envision myself in the places that I'll be, the influence that I'll have, having my own business, being an entrepreneur, the lives that will be affected. Now, that is down the road. But I'm still dreaming about it. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still envisioning that. So I would challenge you, don't forget it. Don't forget it. Keep that on your mind. Keep that on the forefront of your mind. Write it down. Record yourself talking about it. Put those notes. I've heard it several times, different ways to remind ourselves. People have sticky notes on their mirrors and different affirmations that they leave around the house so that they can see it, so that they can not forget it, right? Because you're gonna have those days, and I have those days where the last thing you want to do is be inspired. The last thing you want to do is be motivated. No, the last thing I want to do today is speak positively and build somebody else up. I'm having a messed up day. I'm having a bad day. I'm in a funk. I'm in a bad season. I'm depressed. I'm whatever it might be. So we have to have those things, right? And I talked about this a couple videos ago, setting reminders. But don't forget about it. Don't dismiss these things. They're in our minds for a reason. See, I've been learning a lot about the subconscious. I've been reading a lot of deep, books about psychology. First thing I'm going to admit to you is I don't understand it all. Okay, some of it goes way over my head, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I have to reread things, right? I've got Google out, looking up words, right? Saving it on my phone, trying to build up my vocabulary, because I was like, man, I didn't even know this word existed. But they're talking a lot about the subconscious nature, right? The real, like the raw, real us, without all the distractions, without all the interruptions, without all the, diluted and polluted things that come about just from existing, just from being in this life and growing up in this world, right? No one is exempt from it. There's so many things in our minds that are actually keeping us from understanding and knowing and being able to hone in on our true desire and truly what we want. And the only way that we can work on that is to take the time and focus on those things as much as we can. You may only be able to focus for 5 minutes a day. You might even be able to focus for 2 minutes a day. Now, I've said this with previous videos before. Any advancement forward, it can be in the smallest increments. I mean, maybe it's even immeasurable. Maybe it's an increment. Maybe it's a movement that's not even distinguishable by the human eye. Anything that is moving us forward is worthwhile. That is success. That is achievement. So as you sit down and you start to really engage what it is that drives you, what it is that that motivates, that what it is that you resonate with so closely, right? Your gifting, your vision, your desire, whatever it might be. We got to spend time. We've got to be able to get familiar with these things and not just dismiss them because they don't necessarily fit in our normal, hustle and bustle and our normal routine in this life. We're so distracted. I'm so distracted. Believe me, this channel is like my saving grace. I mean, this channel keeps me going. So I want to say thank you again for those of you that watch, because this is like my therapy. This is what keeps me, keeps me pushing, especially the days where I don't want to, right? I know that I have an appointment every week to make a video. I have a commitment every single week to put out content. And it's a commitment that I take seriously. It's a commitment that I've been able to maintain for over a year, and I can't lie, I'm proud of myself for that. I'm proud of myself, and it's the evidence that I need to see, like, hey, well, what else could you do? Right? You were able to do this. What else could you do? Where else would you want to challenge yourself now, Josh? Like, what's next? And see, this is how it begins. This is how we start to progress. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, and where you don't want to start is in the negative. You don't want to start with a negative balance, right? Whereas I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and he day trades, and he's kind of helped me dabble in a little bit of trading myself. So shout out to you, AG. I thank you, man. You've helped me make some money. But it was funny because he was like, he missed out on a stock, right, that was running up. He had invested early. He made some money, but he traded out, and then the stock kept going up. And so he messages me, and he's like, hey man, he's like, I left $800 on the table. And I told him, man, that's rough, but at the same time, it's better than a negative 800, right? It's better than losing 800. Like, sure, you missed out on 800, and that would have been great, but it's worse if you lose it, right? It's worse if I'm in the negative $800, right? And what I'm getting at is, this is not where you want to start. You don't want to start in the negative, okay? Don't start in a place where you're just telling yourself all the things that you're not going to be able to do. Like, let me just go through a list and convince myself of all the reasons why I can't do this. All the reasons why I'm not going to be able to proceed with this. All the reasons why my dreams aren't going to come true. All the reasons why my goals are just, there's no point. I don't even want to look that far ahead, right? I don't want to be disappointed. That's the other thing, right? We don't want to try hard because we don't want to be let down. We don't want to try hard because we don't want to fail. Well, I got news for you. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you, look up anybody that you consider successful. Look them up. If they have a biography, even better. Because here's what you're going to see. Here's what you're going to see when it comes to their journey, and this should resonate with all of us. You're going to see a lot of failure. You're going to see a lot of trying and coming up short. You're going to see a lot of bad decisions that set people back. Okay, you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of overcoming, mental, instabilities. You're going to see a lot of people overcoming self-doubt, lack of confidence, a lot of people overcoming insecurity. You see, this is what most of us don't understand, and we need to understand this. Whatever person you see out there, whether it's a celebrity, somebody in your family, just somebody that you know of, you consider successful. You look at their life and you think, man, that must be great. Wow, I wish I had it like that. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. The one thing we constantly forget, and we need to understand this, and we really need to drill this into our minds, is that they are people just like us. There is no difference. Sure, they grew up differently, different environments, different cultures, different families. Of course, we know that. But at the end of the day, they're human beings just like you and I. And so when you go and you look at these people, you look at their story, you're going to see that they had to deal and have dealt with the same stuff you and I got to deal with. You see, we paint this picture for whatever reason that there's different categories, right? There's successful people, and then there's everyone else. There's people that are special and gifted, and then there's everyone else. And there's only one category. And the category is everyone else. Or all of us. Human beings. However you want to say it. We are all on the same, pretty much on the same level. Now, does that mean that we all have it the same? Does that mean everyone's life looks the same? Of course not. But if you're alive and you're living and you're breathing, you're a human being. That means you have the same opportunities. That means I have the same opportunities, and I have the same obstacles as everyone else. You know, and we can get in, you know, some people want to get into the weeds with this. Well, what do you mean by that? You know, well, this is more difficult than that. And I get it. Okay. This is just me explaining. This is an overview, right? I know there's more details. I know there's more, you know, we can get into the thick of things, but what I'm trying to point out to us today is that if we want to do something different, if we want to grow, if we want to get better, if we want to improve, that's absolutely within our reach. There isn't anything that we can't do when it comes to that. How far do you want to go? That depends on how far you're willing to push yourself. Right? As far as I want to get, as good as I want to get, that depends on how far I'm willing to push myself. That depends, okay? That's going to depend on me. How hard am I willing to push myself? What am I willing to challenge myself with? At what point am I going to sit back and say, okay, I've gone far enough, or this is enough, right? It's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's hard. It's difficult. It's a different environment. It's a different space. Seeing ourselves in a different light. None of this is easy, but none of it is impossible either. See, I've gotten to this point. And I wasn't here always. I wasn't always making YouTube videos. I wasn't always confident in myself. I wasn't always confident in my abilities and my giftings. And I've told you this before, I've always had a supportive family. I've always had people in my life that have said, you're good at this. You got a speaking gift. You've got a teaching gift. You've got a way with people. So I've been there as well. Some of you get compliments all the time and you can't believe it. You got to find out why. We've got to find out why. See, I discovered for myself, one of the reasons was I had this false humility, and it came from a good place. Okay. My grandfather, both of my grandfathers are my heroes, but one of my grandfathers in particular, the way he carried himself, his humility, right? He was a man of influence. He was a man of intellect. He was well respected, well loved. He'd been in places and he's been in rooms that most of us will never see. But he carried himself with a humility. And so I always thought, well, if I'm gonna model myself in that way, I can't compliment myself. I can't talk about how good I am or how talented I am or my abilities. I can't pat myself on the back. But what I realized is that that's false. What I realized is that the most important voice, the one that needs to believe in me the most, has to be my own. So I'm just giving you an example of how I've grown. I'm just giving you an example of how I've moved from one place to another, so that you know it's possible. Giving you a real example, right? This is a real life example. This is a real life. You know, I'm coming from a real place. Like I said before, I'm a person that is doing this. I'm on my way, but I'm on the road as well. I'm doing this as we speak. So just so you know, this is something that can be done. This is something that is possible. we can grow, we can change. I've got a lot more to go, I've got a lot more to change, but it's possible. And so just wanted to share that with you. I hope this has been helpful. Again, when I come out here, when I do these videos, that's the whole point, right? That's my intention. My intention is to ensure that I'm leaving with something that I feel has helped me, and maybe something that's going to open your eyes, maybe something that's going to lead from one thing to the next, right? Because the one thing as a life coach, the one thing that gives me joy, the one thing that gives me satisfaction is knowing that I was able to help somebody or lead somebody out of a place that they're in now to something that's better, right? Whether it's the view of themselves, whether it's their worldview, whether it's just their attitude or their thought process. It could be a number of different things. But anyway, thank you for watching. Appreciate everybody, and have a good one.